Sorry?
I don't know, I'm an imbecile, I don't have an opinion.
Why are you an imbecile?
Well, you said that.
You did do something imbecilic. You did try to put up the picture with exactly the same string that snapped previously.
It doesn't make calling other people imbecile anymore. I don't even know what that is. Immature?
Would you like me to skirt around the fact?
Well, first of all, what you said was silly, okay?
What you
Because
did was silly.
you didn't say what I did was imbecilic. You said I am an imbecile, okay?
That was at the end of a 2-minute discussion where you had completely denied the fact that you were doing something that was not going to work.
You still decided to label me.
I did label you at the end of 2 minutes because I was tired of having the same thing and pointing out the fact that I was right when I know I was right about it.
Yeah, it's still not okay to insult other people just because you're tired.
I think the word exists for a reason.
You know the word exists. Would you like to know the etymology of it?
Yes.
Would you like to know how it came into existence?
Yes. I would. Please tell me.
Well, okay. The word came to existence. Existence.
Existed.
It's a scientific word to denote a person with lower mental capabilities. Okay, so it actually means that you are mentally retarded.
What other words does it relate to?
Imbecile. I don't know. Im as in non.
Yeah, as in imbalance, not balanced. I get it.
Imbecile. I don't know what that comes from. I have no idea.
We've got the dictionary of etymology here.
But
so
I know that it means that.
We've got the dictionary of etymology, so we can check it.
But I know that it means that somebody has their IQ lower than the average, and that is not
You were
true.
doing something of low IQ.
It is not.
You were doing something really stupid.
Yes, but I am not an imbecile, so you basically lied when you called me an imbecile, because I'm not an imbecile.
I didn't lie. I have the right to label things the way that I see them. It was a very stupid thing. It was a very stupid thing to...
You don't have the right to label things the way that you see them. That's not true.
Of course I have the right. I have the right to label anything the way I want to label it.
You can't say
Imbecile.
that plant is red and label it red just because you're colorblind and you don't see the reality. You cannot say that the world, that the earth is
How do you spell
flat.
imbecile? See, obviously I'm an imbecile because I can't spell it.
Obviously, with an E.
There's an E at the end.
With an E
Spell
in the
it.
middle. Imbecile. I-M-B-E.
Yeah.
C.
Yeah.
I.
Yeah.
L.
Okay,
E.
here it is. Imbecile. Okay. Let's check the etymology of imbecile.
Weak, feeble.
Feeble. Especially in reference to the body. From the Middle French imbécile, weak feeble, from Latin imbeciles, weak feeble, a word of uncertain origin. The Latin word traditionally is said to mean unsupported or walking.
With a stick.
Or sorry,
Without a walking stick.
Without a walking. Yeah, you are without a walking stick. There you go. Juvenile, imbeciles. From assimilated form of in, not opposite of bacillum, a stick. Bacillus. Isn't that the... But the Central Dictionary finds it that improbable, very far-fetched. Stick.
It seems to me that exactly
Imbecile.
the persons who come
Without a
up with
walking
the support
stick.
are the stronger ones.
Does this mean that does this mean that like you should have a walking stick, but you don't?
Yes.
Basically, that's what
Yes,
it's saying that imbecile means.
But there
Since
are people
shifted
who
to
think that it's not
mentally weak or incapable from the mid-18th century, compared with frail, feeble-minded person. It is attested from 1802, traditionally an adult with a mental age of roughly 6 to 9. Above an idiot, but beneath a moron. So you are, according to the dictionary, you are actually better than an idiot. If I call you an imbecile,
I'm better than
it's
you.
a higher level.
Oh, God.
Did I already call myself an imbecile in this conversation?
No.
I did. You missed it.
Oh, you said I must be an imbecile because I can't spell an imbecile.
Yes. So I've already called. I don't have a problem with calling myself an imbecile when I.
It's different when you call yourself an imbecile and when you call other people an imbecile, especially when you're angry and mean it. That's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. I can say, yeah, ha 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 ha. I'm such a cunt.
Now you sound like an imbecile.
And then I can say.
No, now you're an idiot. You've just gone
when I
down
tell
a
you
level.
you're a cunt, I bet you're going to be offended. Right?
No. That's why it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that because I'm not going to be offended. I'm not going to be offended at all. Right. I might just keep this in the podcast version.
Because I said a swear word.
No, because I think that we searched for the facts in the dictionary of etymology, and I think that helped with clarity. She shakes her head. Yes.
I shake my head because I don't think it's normal to call other people names, especially when you're in an intimate relationship.
Names.
Yes.
Names, she said.
I mean,
where would we be without names?
Derogatory names, obviously.
Derogatory.
Yes.
Negative terminology.
You know what I say? Sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Or names.
Names will never hurt me.
Or names will never hurt me. Well, that's not true.
Well, sticks and stones never broke my bones either.
Well, they could if I got
a
pretty big baculum and started...
Excuse me?
If I stopped being an imbecile, I got myself a baculum and started to...
Baculate
you. I'm pretty sure that your bones might end up shattered.
That would be... you're right, yes. That's the closest word to vacuum cleaner that I've ever seen. Baculum.
In Slovak you have bakula. Bakula, which means a big heavy stick that you can beat people with.
Oh, so there's a reference in Slovak to it.
Oh, there's a Slovak word that comes directly from the Latin word baculum.
Pass me the baculum.
Yeah. Pass me the bakula.
Bakula.
Yeah.
No, that's the closest word to Dracula that I've ever seen. Okay. Right.
Oh, God.
Dracula had a bakula. That's about as good as any Slovak rap gets.
And it's also the closest you got to imbecile today.
Oh, look, it's a noun version of it.
Well,
imbecility.
Of course, physical weakness.
Weakness
being without a stick. Right. I suppose you could make anything an insult if you say it the right way.
Or the wrong way.
Well,
depending upon...
Yes.
Okay, we should probably start the podcast.
Yes, because we're wasting time. Okay.
Right.
They've got that on.
Right,
I've got my hair all wrong today. Do you have one of those screws? You screw my hair onto the side of my head. I've got this here.
Imbecile.
I've got this here, right?
Basilica. Do you think that's related to imbecile?
No.
Oh, okay. Right, just has a completely different meaning.
I'm just gonna have this hook here today, okay?
Hook?
It's coming out of my head.
It's a horn. Right.
That is, but it's really annoying.
What do I have to do? Check the audios. Right, let's prepare the podcast and begin.
Did you actually burp at the beginning of the podcast as well?
Yeah, but
It all started with your onion breath. You're going to leave in the burp as well. It's going to be like the jingle.
The burp's not there because I started everything after the burp.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to start it before the burp, but the burp came anyway.
I thought it was going to be a jingle.
Wait, okay.
This is about parenting, so start being serious. Start being serious.
They're not making any sense.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
That's okay.
That's okay for imbecilic people.
Right. So
It's unmuted. It's supposed to be unmuted.
Well, that means click it to unmute it.
Oh. Well, it's not obvious from the way it's done.
Right. Bring it on.
Boom.
Oh dear. People, anyone watching this, anyone watching this online is going to have really missed out on the conversation. I think I'm going to keep it in the podcast version, but it's not going to be in the video versions. So that's going to be a little bit of surprise.
We're talking a little bit about insults.
Insults. Yeah, we had a nice little conversation about insults. So.
And me and G have a.
Eva, how are you?
Hi, Eva.
She's in Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Aberdeen in Scotland, because all my students go to Scotland because it's just so cool.
Because they want to get away from you.
Actually, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Actually, everyone is going to Scotland.
Of course they
Everyone.
are. Of course they are. I mean, wouldn't you?
Me?
For the weather, if not for anything else.
I'm trying to get away from the place.
You are away from the place, G.
I know I am away from the place. I got to check the.
I actually like Scotland. I wouldn't mind going there. You know?
Okay.
Especially for the winter.
Okay, so the audio works there. Okay, so we're streaming on Facebook. The Facebook audio is up and direct. I'm going to check the YouTube audio to check that we're going out on YouTube Live.
Hi YouTube. Oh, sorry, I wasn't talking. I didn't say anything. Yes.
There we go.
I was focusing on your waves.
You have to keep. You're not saying anything at all.
I am saying things now.
Oh, okay, there we go. Right, super cool. So the first 2 minutes is all checking the streams to
and
make sure that everything's going out okay.
Yes. Well done.
Thank you very much. Right. I don't know where to go after the dictionary of etymology because it's such a great resource.
Well, sticks and stones. Sticks and stones, right? I mean, we were talking about people live. All the live people.
As opposed to the dead ones.
Yes.
The dead
all
fish.
Those live people that are watching us live through Facebook or YouTube have missed out on our missed out on our conversation about insults.
Insults. We had a nice little discussion. We did.
Yes.
We did. I enjoyed it.
And I think it's important to talk about that in parenting as well. You know, in because we actually we talked about it before, didn't we? About the labeling.
You did, because it's really important to you, and because I label everything all the time because it helps me feel better. It is
very important to me. Yes, you're right. I think it's important that kids learn how to make fun of themselves, how to not take themselves too seriously. So I think.
Did we do an introduction?
No.
Welcome to the practical, peaceful, positive parenting podcast.
Yes, the P. How many P's were there?
Quite a lot.
Yeah. So can I?
But not as many as that.
Can I continue?
Please do.
Yeah. So I think that it's okay to jokingly call people names sometimes if you're making fun, but you have to make sure that the child is making fun as well, right? That they're not actually taking it in.
Hey,
and
Scrooge.
I think that not only it should be
hey.
Done that.
Duck features, come here.
I don't think that should be only in the relationship, towards the children, but I think that we should model that as well. So I don't think
we should model labeling.
Unlabeling, not labeling. We should model.
How will they know?
Basic respect.
How will they know what labeling is if we don't use it? Ta-da!
Ta-da! Yeah, that was genius. It was like, oh, how will they know what's physical violence if we don't use it, right?
Yeah, I know. I know it's deliberately put in there as a fallacy.
Funny thing.
No, it's just put in there as a false argument to make the point of what a false argument is.
Well, the point is, it doesn't make sense to say that.
Yes, how will my son grow up to be big and strong if I don't beat the shit out of him?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So. I think we should model that. I mean, you can't teach your children respect and not model respect. And it's not respectful when you call people names, right? I mean, it's the opposite of respect.
Yeah, I agree with you. Keep talking, because I'm doing a little bit of an experiment.
As much as it is important to be honest, okay, because I know that you value honesty a lot, above all, almost.
You have to value. Everything begins with an honest conversation.
Yes, absolutely, and honesty is extremely important in relationships, because if you're not honest, then you don't.
Oh no! It started, and there's no way to turn it off, and all I wanted to do was copy the URL. Sorry. Well, what I wanted to do was copy the URL from the Facebook onto other pages so other people could see it, right? And you know how when you always start Facebook, the volume is off? The videos. Well, guess what happened?
It was on.
The one and only time
you need it to be off if it's on.
That we're doing a live broadcast, and I think, okay, the volume is always off when you click on the video. It turns on. The one and only time. It's like the great God of technology has really. He's got a picture of me on his wall, and he's
thinking, oh look, that guy's
torching it with a flamethrower.
No, he's looking at it and he's thinking, oh look, that guy's doing really well. Let's challenge him some more and see what he can do.
You know what I'm talking about, though. The volume is always off when you click on a video for the first time, right? And that was the first time ever that I clicked on a video and the volume came on full, right? And it was the one time that I needed it to come on with no volume, right? Isn't that bizarre?
No.
Not only that,
really.
I'm gonna.
Why do you think people came up with Murphy's laws? Because it happens all the time to everybody.
I'll give you another Murphy's law. Right.
Yes.
I want to talk about what you're talking about. I want to talk about the labeling stuff, but I need to get this out there, right? So last night I was
sleeping.
No. I set up the games for Will so that we could stream the computer game, right? Yeah. So that he'd be in one room and I'd be in the other room. We'd be playing the game against each other, right? And of course, I didn't think it was going to work, but it did. Which it's all that experimentation with technology. So we were playing live together on the internet, streaming through two different computers from different places, and everything worked perfectly, and there was not one single problem. After I got everything set up, of course. And yet, if I want to open a second tab on the browser on my computer,
it freezes for 5 minutes.
It freezes for 5 minutes, yeah. Or if I want to watch something on YouTube, the whole computer crashes. Or if I want to watch something on Facebook, that crashes as well. Or it won't let me open my Gmails. Yeah. But if I want to stream a game across the internet,
it works.
It's absolutely flawless. Somebody somewhere, please explain to me why I can stream any game from a shitty little old computer onto the internet absolutely perfectly, but when I try to do any productive work on my computer,
what's up, Johnny?
The thing crashes completely.
Yeah.
Somebody forgot. There's no raisins in the bowl, darling. Is that what you're saying? Will, could you get some raisins for your sister, please?
They're on the bench. They're at the back of the bench in the kitchen.
Will.
Will's playing in his room now.
Will, somebody forgot to close the gate.
Will is playing in his room and he's got his door closed so he can't hear you. So I'm going to have to go and do that.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not. We can do this. Zora.
She won't be able to reach.
Zora. Wait for this. Zora, could you go and knock on the bedroom door, please, and go in and ask Will to get some raisins for Jazzy?
Tell him they're on the bench in the kitchen.
Right. Okay. I know that she won't be able to reach, but I can ask her to ask him. Okay. A process.
We'll see if that works. Will's probably go just so that he can't see them.
I've mapped out a process. Except that
she forgot what to do and Jasmine is going to do it.
Except that Zora went completely the wrong way. Yeah. The greatest plans of mice and men.
She wants to do it herself.
Yeah. Well, anyway, chaos ensues in the kitchen.
Can you come here, please?
He's reading his horrible histories, no?
I think he was playing.
That's why he closes the door, right? So that he thinks that we don't know he's playing the game.
Well, can you help us, please?
Sneaky.
There are some raisins at the back of the kitchen bench. On the bench in the kitchen, all the way at the back, there's a bag and there's a little bit of raisins left in the bag. Can you get the bag, because the girls can't reach it, and can you pour it into the girls' bowl, or bowls? I don't know if they have 2 or 1 now. Thank you.
Right. So, yeah, I just wanted to get that out about the technology. Not only did it sabotage what I wanted to do here, it sabotages my... You told them exactly where the raisins were. Yes. How can you not...
That's exactly what you do.
What? What do you mean he does what I do? But he's cool. Well, when you say he's cool, right?
You ask where things are, even though they don't move, right?
Or
whether we have something. Like you come and you say, do we have any milk? And the milk is there, right? But you still ask. You do that sometimes, not every time, but
that's because there's usually 3 bottles of milk, cartons of milk, whatever, out of the fridge, and I have to walk around picking them up to see which one has got milk in it. Then I have to decide which one is the coldest, has been out of the fridge for the least amount of time. Then I have to put the other ones back, and then I get all confused, and then sometimes I end up putting the empty cartons back in the fridge. Am I being there?
No.
Am I? Is that no? Is it? That's no. That means yes, right?
Yes, that's no.
I'm sorry for boring you, but I just wanted to get that thing about the technology off my chest. It is ridiculous. All I wanted to do was share the live video.
Yeah.
And it didn't. And not only that. Let me get this out. The volume control didn't appear.
No.
No, the volume control didn't appear. So there was no way to turn the volume off. Somebody somewhere is
that's the great god of internet is sitting on his cloud up there in the sky, laughing at you. He's laughing his pants off.
He's sitting on me, that's for sure. That's really he's getting on my tits, right? Oh, I'm not.
You don't have tits.
What's that?
That's skin.
Oh. Okay. Right. Okay. Nipple.
Right, yeah, I was saying.
If you're watching this on Facebook, please like or share or give us a heart or.
As much as
write a question.
My point of view, okay.
Type.
You know my point of view. My point of view is that.
About parenting.
As much as honesty is.
The best policy.
Important.
The best policy.
Shut up. As much as honesty, I'm sorry, I'm being very disrespectful, but you keep jumping into what I'm saying, and that's not very respectful either. So as much as honesty is very important in relationships, I think that person should be willing to put enough effort into the communication to show respect, apart from being honest, because you can be honest respectfully. You don't have to swear and insult and
salt.
Just be mean, basically. You can still be honest, and you can still do it
what a
with
ridiculous
respect.
statement. You don't have to be mean.
You don't have to be mean. You can be kind.
Yeah, to the point where you're also laid back so far that your
you don't have
head
to be
touches your ankles.
You don't have to be laid back. I'm not talking about being laid back or letting something slide. You can still be
letting slide.
You can still be very particular about things, but you don't have to call people imbeciles while doing that, right?
I can be particular.
Yes.
Okay.
You can still be firm, just like in bringing up kids, right? I mean, you don't have to yell and spank them to have some discipline, but you can still be firm in a kind way, right?
What is that image? Just the image of someone yelling and spanking just seems so alien. Because it's apart from the fact because it's done by aliens.
Yeah, but I don't know, but that's your own thing. But do you get my point at all? Am I getting through at all?
I'm not sure what point you're making.
I'm making the point that you can still be firm about your and honest about your views without having to be disrespectful.
Naturally, yes. That would be the power of debate, the power of language.
Yeah, so I think it's, it requires more mental work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it requires some kind of emotional self-control.
Okay.
But saying that, I don't do that because I'm honest, I think that's just an excuse.
Can I lean on your shoulder?
Yes, of course, you can lean on me anytime.
Cue song. There we go. Right. Yeah, I want to talk about speech. Actually, I want to talk about talking. Because there's we can go somewhere with this. We can go somewhere with this, definitely.
I'm not sure whether we can.
Oh, you want to get all physical? Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to have a slandering match like those rap battles where they try to make each other look like tree monkeys or something.
What?
They just make each other look imbecilic.
We could have this discussion in a third person singular, right? Like, oh, one should do this and one should do that, and we could mean it all personal, and we could actually be talking to each other. Like, I think
people do that, don't they?
I think that one should be more
after
respectful
two.
to
Two
his,
should be after three.
to his partner. Because I think that's good role modeling.
One. Yeah, I agree with that. Yes, I was boating on the lake with Cameron the other day, and we were talking about the very same thing. Would you believe it? And then he opened the hamper and pulled out the champers, and away we were.
I love the way you avoid.
Avoid.
I love the way you
avoid.
Just avoid. Things that you're
Avoid.
uncomfortable with. Okay. So,
yes,
you wanted to change the topic, obviously.
No, I didn't, because we were talking about speech and speaking and language. But I do have a story.
Okay.
I do have a story.
Go on.
From today, because I have to share.
Mm-hmm.
I have to share. So, I was at the pool doing my length.
As you do.
As you do, and except I wasn't doing length. I was doing width.
No.
Widths.
You can't do widths.
You can.
You can't. Because you're going against the grain.
There's no grain. There's no grain in the pool. What are you talking about?
You gotta have people crashing into you if you go that way instead of that way, right? Because everybody's swimming that way, and if you swim that way, you're gonna have people going, "Are you crazy? This is not the way."
I once crashed into somebody like that, and I asked them, "Are you okay?" And they looked at me like I was completely insane. So,
and
he was going the wrong way.
And you came to me like a week ago, and you were like, "I don't get it. All these people who decide to swim in the 90 degrees."
All right, you don't know what I'm talking about, right? Because you're gonna look a bit silly when you.
Am I?
Yeah.
I don't know. You were swimming widths instead of lengths.
Yeah, because during the week.
Yes.
When the school kids are in the pool, they divide the pool in half, and they force everyone to swim widths.
Oh, so everybody was swimming widths.
Yes.
How many widths did you swim?
80.
So you didn't have people crashing into you?
Well, no, because everyone was swimming widths.
How boring.
Can you imagine how stupid it would be if you had half the people doing lengths and the other half doing
that's what I was thinking you were doing.
Yes, well, I didn't get to the point, did I? Because you jumped in. No, you don't. Oh, I thought you said he needs a bowl. He said
he made a bow. It's a beautiful bow, darling.
Bow. Where's the arrow? So I did my widths, and finally after 2 weeks of the sauna not working, they fixed it. So I jumped in the sauna for 5 minutes, and this old guy comes in, and he's overweight, grossly overweight, and so overweight that you can't actually really sit down in the sauna, right? You know, you got to sort of climb up on the step to
Yeah.
sit down.
Yeah.
And he's like so kind of overweight, he can't really get up on the step to sit down. And he hauls himself up and sits down. And you know, just sitting there, and
So he could sit down.
well, he got there eventually. It was a bit of a kind of effort for him to climb up. You know.
Okay.
You know, it was like maybe the last thing he'd ever do, and I had no idea how he got down after he got up. But anyway, so and then after him, in comes this woman.
Mm-hmm.
She comes in and sits down next to him, and she's like, "Oh, hi, how are you? Still doing all the fitness, still doing all the exercise, still doing all the things." It's all in Slovak, of course.
She was talking to him, to the guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, tak, stále robíte sportovní věci a all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
he's like,
understand
and but I have to do the Slovak thing because it was the way she said it in Slovak,
Oh,
right?
right. Okay.
And the guy's like, no, samozřejmě, jsem byl v Košice na
Yes, of
majstrovský.
course. I was in Košice.
I was at the World Championship in
Yes.
Košice, and I was competing, and
Yes.
I was sitting there thinking, what sport could have this guy competing at? This guy was about 65, grossly overweight, could hardly move, and he was like, "Yes, I've just come back from the World Championships."
Chess?
But it was sport. They were talking about sport. Like, are you still doing all the sports stuff?
Chess?
Chess is not a sport. Chess is a recreational activity.
You know, that's quite funny because I don't know, obviously,
Well, not-
because I've never been.
And I was
Never
sitting
been
there puzzled,
overweight, right?
puzzled
But-
by, I wonder what it could be.
I know that. You know the taekwondo that we went to with Will and Zvolen for a while. Well, we've been there about twice. The guy that ran the group, he was very much overweight as well. He was like really, really big, and
Like, you mean fat? He was
yeah,
fat.
and he
As
trained these people, and he showed them the kicks, and he showed them the punches and everything.
Okay.
And he was about, I don't know, between 55 and 60, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had quite a big belly in front of him, right?
Kind of beer belly kind of thing going on.
Yeah. And when he was showing them the kicks, he would still kick his leg up all the way up to his freaking
Yeah,
ear,
try not to do the actual kick.
right?
here,
I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. The guy was actually fitter than me.
Some fat people
You
are
know, he was strong.
unbelievably flexible.
He was strong and he was flexible. He sweated a lot and he is slightly out of breath, but other than that, he was much fitter than me. You know?
Yeah.
So you don't know.
I had a client who was
I mean, he was much
who was
older
a
and much
teacher in
fitter.
martial arts, and he was fat, and that always confused me, like how you could be a teacher and be out. How could you be a teacher in martial arts and be out of shape? That confused me, because isn't the whole martial art about, practicing the art and
Yeah,
being
about
into
self-discipline.
the
It's a
spirit
lot
and
about
psychology of things?
self-discipline, isn't it? I mean, yeah, I've watched this movie about sugar. I can't remember what it's called. There's a lot of them. The sugar movie, probably. And there was a guy who was kind of running the show, and
honey.
he said that he told to the people that were, he had these overweight people that cut out sugar, and then they watched their progress and everything, and he was like,
Difficult
okay,
job.
well, everybody tells to the overweight people, it's your choice, you're not exercising enough, you're
Ludi. Welcome
eating
to the
too much,
conversation.
yada yada yada. And the point of the movie was that the people thought they were eating healthy, but they didn't know about all the sugar that they have been eating. So well, obviously some of them did eat sweets and I don't know, obvious things, but they pointed out the hidden sugars that you don't know about, especially in the processed food, like sauces, ketchup, for example, alcohol, right, is sugar. And people don't know that, right? So unless you actually eat really clean food, like not processed at all, you have a high probability of having sugar everywhere. I bought bacon
All
in
processed
Scotland.
food is full of.
I bought bacon in
SHI.
Scotland with sugar. Okay?
What, bacon with sugar?
Bacon with sugar.
Sugar in the bacon.
I
You have to be kidding
swear
me.
to everything that there is to swear to. I took 2 packets of bacon.
How did you know? How
It was
did
a
you know?
sliced
How
bacon.
how did you know there was sugar in
Because
the bacon?
I took 2 packets of bacon. One was the Tesco Finest super expensive one,
Okay.
and one was a cheaper one. Okay? And I turned them
Tesco
around
Finest, cheaper
to
one.
see if I can see any differences in them.
In the
You know,
ingredients.
I was expecting the cheaper one to be shitty and the good one to be good, right?
Okay. As
And
you
I
did.
found out that the difference, one of the differences was that the expensive bacon had extra sugar added to it, whereas the cheap bacon didn't. right?
The expensive bacon has
Yes.
extra sugar.
So what they are doing is
What?
basically, because sugar is
Everything.
because sugar is a drug,
So it's like
Right.
it's like the brain on cocaine.
because it's the
Man.
cocaine for the brain, because it's the drug. They put it on the expensive stuff, you know, to get the expensive stuff next time, because you eat the cheap bacon, you get the expensive bacon, and because there is sugar in expensive bacon, your brain's like, hey, Christmas, right? So obviously you're gonna say,
Yeah.
hey, the expensive stuff is better because hey, Christmas, and I'm gonna get it next time too. But it's actually not. So if they add sugar
Learn
to
your lesson,
bacon, it's not just about cheap
Learn it.
and expensive. I'm not saying that cheap is better. The thing is that you have to look everywhere, because if they put sugar in meat, they put it everywhere. Okay. So you have to look. Always have to look at the back. So the point of this movie was, you know, those people were like, okay, they told us to cut out sugar, and WHO says that we should only have the equivalent of 6 teaspoonfuls of sugar per day, right? So they cut out all the sweets, and they cut out all the cakes, and they cut out all the
60.
6.
So 6.
6.
6.
And they cut out all the sweet drinks, and they thought, we're fine.
Okay.
So they
Okay, fair
ate what
enough.
they considered to be healthy and sugarless all day.
Mm-hmm.
And then this person came and measured the content of sugar in what they ate and told them, hello, you just ate like 20, right? Instead of 6. And I
So
was
they
like, I
ate
didn't-
more. Because they had more when they tried to cut out sugar. They ended up with more
No,
sugar.
they didn't end up with more sugar.
Okay.
They would go from 50 spoonfuls to say 15, okay? I don't remember the
Yeah.
exact numbers.
Right,
But
okay.
they thought they weren't eating any sugar at all, okay?
Uh-huh.
They thought the only sugar that they ate was in the fruit or whatever. And they found out that they were actually eating sugar even though they thought that they didn't. Right? So the point of that movie was that even when people
There's a lot of great health movies like that.
yeah, even when people, you know, do exercise and eat healthy, or what they consider healthy, they may actually not be eating healthy without knowing about it. And they didn't make this point in the movie, but it's a point that I make, is that they might not have been doing the right type of exercise to lose weight. Okay, because if you, for example, if you do like a long stretches of cardio, it doesn't burn as much calories as if you do a short stretches of high intensity interval training, right?
It does, and to add to that, it doesn't matter how much exercise you do.
If you don't eat.
If you don't eat right.
If you don't eat right, eating food is the 80%, right?
So
and exercise is 20 or
So
something.
what
like
was
that.
I eating at the beginning of the live show today? What was I eating?
Onions.
Raw
onions. I can still
Raw-
smell it. People can probably smell it through their computers. It's pretty powerful. Just
Raw.
have a sniff, people, and you'll probably find out that your computers are kind of giving out this weird oniony stench.
No, we don't want the technology to develop to that point.
No.
We don't want the smells coming through the computer. I'm not sure that I want people at the other side to have a 360-degree camera so that they can see what's
behind
over there. Yeah.
I know. Nothing. It's just the Jasmine took all the cushions off the sofa and made a little cushion trail, and then
said
don't
stand on the cushions.
Yes, and then you weren't supposed to stand on them. Yeah.
She made a path, but you can't stand on the path.
So it looks untidy, but it's not too bad actually. I mean, given that I've been working all freaking day and I didn't have time to properly do anything else other than work and
You've put
teach.
the picture up very nicely, though.
Oh, thank you. I've done a really good job, haven't I?
Doesn't it look much better now than it did before?
It does look much better, darling, and I'm really, really grateful that you did the man's job and got it done. Thank you.
did my man's job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
I cooked. You hung the picture. I think we're even.
Where's my lunch?
Your lunch is in the pot.
On the stove?
Yes, I just wanted you to get a bit more hungry before you eat it. So you enjoy it more.
I'm already raving.
I'm pretty ravenous myself, actually.
As all I've had is 2
anything.
onions
I know.
and a bowl of...
I ate a bowl of muesli for breakfast and I had a cup of coffee, and that was about it for today. Yeah.
How much sugar is in that muesli?
Well, it's not. There's no. It's not about sugar that's in the muesli. It's about the carbohydrates. You know.
Yeah, I'm not up to speed on all of the elements of everything.
Well, you've got the 3 basic food groups, right? You've got the carbohydrates, you've got the fats, and you've got the protein. Yeah. Now, apparently, it's not good when you eat simple carbohydrates too much, which are in the flour, in pasta, white bread, brown bread, any kind of wheat, and of course in sweet things, sugar, glucose, fructose syrup, and all this stuff. So
all that horrible stuff that you should.
White rice.
Don't touch it. Not even with one of those English.
Even potatoes. Okay, even potatoes have a lot of carbohydrates. Actually, starchy things, starch, any kind of starch. So corn. Potatoes, bananas are quite starchy when they're not ripe, and the starch changes into sugar in bananas when they ripen. That's why they get sweet, right? That's why they're starchy when they're green, and when you eat them a week later, all the starch has changed into sugar, and they've ripened and they're sweet, right? So
my brain has trouble processing all of that.
The fruit and vegetable sugar is okay because it comes with everything else that's in the fruit and vegetable, with the fiber, and then the body is...
Jesse's bouncing a ball in her head. Sorry.
And it comes with the vitamins and everything, so that's okay for you. That's good for you. But just what we were talking about earlier, all the, the overweightness, especially the belly, the big belly up front, like I have. That's the carbohydrate belly. That's the pasta belly. They call it pasta belly, but it's actually carbohydrate belly, right?
So if you don't eat carbohydrates, does that go away?
Yes. If I stopped eating bread.
Well, why don't you stop eating bread then? Get rid of it.
Why don't I stop? Because you didn't. Because it's very easy to say and it's very hard to do, especially when everybody else around you eats bread. It's just difficult.
Well, if you don't buy it, you can't eat it.
If I don't buy it, you're going to come and you're gonna go, "Where's the bread? Where's the bread? I just want a piece of toast."
Why do you eat it if it's not good for you?
Habit. A thing of habit. I told you it's an addiction. I told you sugar is an addiction.
Oh, excuse me.
So as much as I try to limit sugar,
excuse me,
it works like alcohol, okay? So you can't limit it. You can't limit it. You can either eat it or not eat it. You can't limit it. So
that's a very good analogy. Why don't you just not eat it then?
Because everybody else is eating it, and I have to make it all the time for everybody else. And it's so nice, and it's just feeling. Because I'm not strong enough.
Well, why don't you give yourself like a 10-day challenge or something? Why don't you give yourself a 10-day challenge not to eat bread? And
Why don't you do it with me?
A 10-day challenge to not eat bread.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, it's not like I need bread to survive, so...
Yeah?
Jazzy wants to go on the balcony.
Okay.
You haven't closed the gate.
I will open the balcony for you, love. I'll close this gate. Am I okay with the cable?
Sort of. In a kind of female kind of way.
Semi. Okay. Okay.
You're more okay than... Oh! It's freezing cold outside today. The balcony door is open and now my feet are...
Cold.
You've got socks on.
Yeah.
That's not fair. I don't have any socks on. Welcome to the conversation, Martina. Feel free to ask any questions.
Watch his nipples. Watch his nipples.
What? What are you talking about?
So they can see how cold it is out there.
I feel it on my feet. I feel it on my feet. Ah,
It is cold, yeah. Yeah,
Right.
it smells nice and fresh and everything.
Smells... What?
Smells fresh?
It smells like rain.
Exactly.
That's
Rain
not-
smells nice and fresh.
That's not smelling fresh.
It smells like fresh air. I like how the rain washes the air and then it smells clean.
You mean how it brings all the shit down out of the sky onto the ground?
Yeah.
Hmm.
You get this negative way of putting everything.
It is what it is. Right, I mean, I'm all for singing in the rain, but
Yeah, it is.
it's probably
It
not
is,
healthy
Jason.
to get wet all the time. Right. Kids, huh? They ask the best questions.
Absolutely, darling. I'm gonna have to stretch my.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, I wanted to get her tablet.
Oh,
for
that
her.
one up there.
Yeah.
Wait, don't. No, let me do it.
You stretch your bits
Because
then.
I've got longer arms. Right.
Nothing wrong with my arms.
I didn't say there was anything wrong with your arms. I said I've got longer arms, not wronger.
Wrong. Yeah. Okay, but sweetie, I have to check it.
Wronger, wrongest. Isn't that how the grammar works?
That's what you've been doing in your daily email today, wasn't it?
What? Wrong, wronger, wrongest?
Yeah. You were doing the comparative and the superlative.
Superlative. Yeah. For anyone interested in getting free daily language classes online, subscribe through my Facebook page to the daily masterclass, daily English language masterclass. I'm refining it. I'm working on it. It's a new project, and as long as people are interested in it, I'll put it out.
I like the
free.
masterclass. Yeah, it's very practical. It gives you, no
My
BS.
my students have been using it.
Yeah, exactly. It's the kind of thing that you would use because
Yeah.
they're short and they're to the point and they're clear and it's no BS. I like it.
And I'm trying to. There's going to be even less BS, bull. There's going to be even less bull in the future because I know there's mistakes with it because it doesn't have a call to action specifically. So I'm going to create a call to action for it, and
That's your own one.
and refocus. You alright, Dayna?
Yeah. Sorry, I was just doing tablet swapsies.
Right.
Too many
If you're listening to the
tablets in
audio,
this
it's not going to make much sense what's just been going on, but bear with us. We'll get there. Right. 7 tips to boost your toddler's speech. We were talking about the 6 habits of highly effective parenting before. And the first one was how you communicate with your kids, how you talk to them, the language that you use. The children will mirror your language, and so you want to introduce them to a wide variety of vocabulary and phrases and persuasive and argumentative techniques. You're right there. You're don't swallow the glass.
I needed to have a drink because my throat is a bit dry.
Yeah. We don't have any juice.
Jasmine,
don't we
it's
have any
Jasmine's
juice?
fault. I was
Yeah,
cooking today. And I was on the phone as well, talking to a friend. And I haven't.
Multitasking doesn't
Yeah.
work.
And I haven't noticed that Jasmine sneaked in the fridge and took the juice
Was
bottle.
Oh, right.
And-
Dayna, she hid in the fridge.
No, and she took the juice bottle, and
She opened
next
it.
thing I found her sitting in the beanbag with an empty juice bottle. And I was like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Drinking juice out of the bottle,
She took the
all
bottle.
of it." Yeah, she peed a lot as well.
Thank you for that with me. Yeah,
So,
that's
well,
what
that's just to say
parenting
that.
is about.
That's just to say that she drank it. She didn't spill it somewhere. She,
I
there
was
are
just
these.
bitching.
there are these cues of how you know whether they actually really drank the juice or whether they've spilled it under the sofa.
Ah.
Okay.
Right. So otherwise you'd be like hunting around on your hands and knees looking for a wet patch.
Well, yeah. I mean, if it comes in, it needs to come out, and if it doesn't come out, then it didn't go in, right? Go and do it!
Where she can't find it.
Put your
Where is it?
panties off!
She can't find it.
Well, where will we release it?
I don't know. Don't know where the potty is. Run! Because you didn't make it last time. Don't trip over the cables. Women! Oh my gosh! What did you do with it? Oh, she's lost her potty. Oh my god. Parental problems, eh? Hey, there you go. Look at that. Everything is solvable, especially when you have a small flat. You can't really hide anything anywhere, can you? Right. On to other things. These, we will get to it. 7 tips to boost your toddler's speech. I think we all need to get into the habit of speaking more to children, especially as they grow up and get older. And we know that they will copy the parental patterns. So we need to give children as much. You all right?
Sorry. Yeah.
You tip. Can I give you a tip?
You cough before you put your microphone on. Yeah.
Right. And that's not
That was
a
unplanned.
it's not a criticism because
It's a
I
tip.
was doing it as well
It's
earlier.
a tip.
Tip.
Yeah.
It's a tip.
I get it.
It's not a critique.
It's not always
It's
planned.
not a critique.
It's not always planned. Move over.
What?
Move over.
Am I in the wrong place?
Okay.
Is that better?
That's better, yes.
Okay. Right.
You're saying, sir,
I was.
your
Okay.
beard is really long. It needs trimming.
I'm far too hairy, so
Yeah.
yes, we should do that today. Should just take it all off, I think. Take it all off.
Oh, God.
Oh, it's I thought I did that quietly.
You did.
I did. I burped very quietly there, away
Yes,
from
you
away
didn't
from the
mask
microphone.
the smell.
It's a healthy smell. What are you talking about?
It is.
Onions are healthy. If you
It
made
is.
onion soup, the whole place would smell like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Onion soup.
I like onion soup.
I like any kind of food, especially when I'm hungry. Right. Home cooked food. None of that processed. SHIT. Right. Speaking with the kids. It's not just about speaking. I think children need to see their parents not ju-
Engaging in the conversation.
Yeah, engaging in the conversation, having the conversations, and not only that, I think reading. I think not enough kids see their parents reading books, and I think that is it's a kind of key thing, an indicator where I think that more intellectual and intelligent families do more reading. I don't have the science behind it. It's just an observation.
You know, I always used to ask my mum when I was a kid because I enjoyed reading so much. And sometimes she would sit on the sofa and you know, she'd be kind of laid back and reading a book, but it didn't happen very often. It was really seldom that it happened. And I remember asking her why she doesn't read more. And I remember telling me that her telling me that she doesn't have time. Right?
Okay.
So fast forward a few years,
Dun,
right?
dun,
And I still read books, but usually in the evening, and I usually fall asleep while doing it. So I get through about like.
What is that thing? What is that thing where you read like a couple of pages and you start yawning and your eyes
And then you
start
just
closing?
fall asleep because
What
you're
is that?
tired. That's
But
called
if the book is
tiredness.
interesting,
Exhaustion.
But if the book is interesting, you shouldn't have that kind of response. No, but even if the book is interesting, I still have that kind of response.
Look, did you or did you not like Hamish Macbeth?
The TV series.
Yes.
I did. I enjoyed it.
Did you
very
fall
much.
asleep while watching it several times?
Well, now that you've said that, I guess I probably did, although I can't really remember.
Yes, as well as you did with the other series that we watched, the Once Upon a Time.
I
right?
give in late in the evening.
It's
I
just
give in.
you're tired. You're tired. Your brain needs sleep, right? I mean, if you're doing F all day, then you can stay up late and read until 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I did that in Scotland because I had much less work than here. You know, when we went for a holiday to Scotland and I finally got to read a book, and I would stay up until like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I couldn't get everything I could find.
Oh, okay.
Because I was so deprived.
In my parents' house. Oh my god. Oh, I have a good library.
Well, I went to the library as well in Elgin, you know.
Oh, okay.
I found some King books, but I read them all before I went. King books.
King books.
King books.
Oh, so I heard kink.
No, or I bought my own in the
What's
boot
kink?
sales. What else did I read? Oh, there were a few good books that I picked up and read.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so
You're derailing the conversation.
sorry.
Similar to the way that I derail it.
Yeah,
when you're
you
talking.
read when you're a parent. You read, but you don't read as much as you would like to because there's just no time. It's still good to read and for the kids to see you reading though.
Lack of time.
Yeah.
Okay, so ways to boost your toddler's speech. Number 1. Describe everything.
Oh my God!
Are you okay?
Do you remember that guy?
Are you okay? What
Do you
guy?
remember
Where?
that guy?
What are you talking
When we
about?
lived in Rastoka and we had a garden and we had the sheep and everything. And this guy used to come in with his son, right? And this guy was a teacher, right? Do you remember the guy?
Oh, the couple
Do you know
of
which
houses
one?
down. They lived in Bratislava.
Yeah. They lived in Peterson and they came, for the holiday in the summer to cool
walk
down.
randomly into our garden.
Yeah, they walked randomly into our garden and they asked, "Oh, we've seen the sheep through the fence, from the other side, and could we come and have a closer look at them?" And I was like, "Okay." So we kind of became, familiar with each other, and they came to visit us more, and we talked about homeschooling because they were interested in homeschooling, and he just wouldn't stop talking to the kid. I mean, they would go up there and he would just describe everything constantly. Do you remember that?
I think I've blocked that out. Although it does ring a bell.
I found it a bit extreme, but maybe
Some
it's
people talk
not. Maybe
too
it's a good idea, And he would just be describing everything and be like, "Oh, look, there's a purple flower over there. Let's pick it up." And "Oh, we picked up the purple flower. Let's have a look at it." And it was just
In general, those. In general, people who talk a lot, you just wish that they'd be quiet, and people who don't talk much, you wish that they would say more, right? That's kind of how it works.
yeah, I guess so.
So, describe everything. That's
But
the
yeah,
first
that
rule.
was description in practice. That was like he described everything.
Explain where you are.
Say what you're doing.
But as a teacher, you said he was a teacher,
Yeah.
right?
Must be a teacher thing.
There you
Yeah.
go, right? Teachers tend to want to explain everything.
I think he was even
I'm
a teacher
taking
of
the
teachers.
Fork out of the drawer, and I'm putting the fork on the table. Can you see how I am doing this?
Yeah.
Engage, capture attention.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right?
I would be exhausted after about an hour of doing that. By the way.
I've been exhausted after 5 minutes of listening to him. Right? Explain where you are, what you're doing, where you're going, what you can see. Describe life as a toddler may see it. Describe what toddlers are. Describe what is interesting for things in the way that you see it, and maybe try to see things from their perspective as well. But the descriptions, they help fill in a lot of the spaces in the language for the children, I think.
Yeah.
So Will's trying to get attention now by making
It makes sense though. It
doing
makes
all these
sense.
things.
Anyway.
Anyway,
If you want children to learn how to talk, you have to
model the talking.
you have to
yourself.
tell them how to say certain things, right? If you don't do this and say, "Look, I have a remote control," they have no way of knowing what this is.
Oh,
right?
that's where it is. Thank you. Right. Let's put it back. Okay. Second tip to boost toddlers' speech:
Mm-hmm.
ask questions, even if children cannot reply. Ask questions. Give them
Okay.
the model of the concept and the idea. Include intonation, rising intonation, so they understand it's a real question and
Mm-hmm.
that a response is required. So even though children, and I think we do that naturally. I think a lot of parents do that naturally. They even sometimes provide kind of answers from
Yeah,
the kid's
for the kid,
perspective
yeah.
for the kids as well. And so I think those are natural things to do. Describe the environment. Talk about what you can see. It also it teaches observational skills. It teaches people to learn to see. I think you have to learn to see things, right? We kind of think it's automatic what goes on.
I'm sorry, but is Jasmine sitting on the potty? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
she is over
Just
there.
checking.
Right. Well, meanwhile, Will's got his finger halfway up his nose. Right.
course.
Again. There we go. Yeah. Well, you can go to your room and do 101 million things there.
Push-ups, for example. 101 million push-ups.
Yeah. To start with. Yeah.
That would take 6 weeks.
Yes. Okay.
Well, you better get started.
Okay. Next, number 3 is tell stories. So to capture the imagination of the children, and excuse me, it doesn't have to be a made-up story. It's like I did earlier today. I told the story of going to the swimming pool. I think you can tell the stories about events and things that happen.
You know,
around about
I've read somewhere that it's actually better for very young children to tell them stories that they're that they're toddlers, basically. We're talking about toddlers, right? To tell them stories from real life that they can relate to, right? So rather than telling them about a Little Red Riding Hood or a whatever Cinderella, they say that they will enjoy more stories that they can relate to. So if you talk about a little girl who went to have lunch and had a pea soup, then that's more suitable for the toddlers rather than
Or
talking
you can also
about
relate the
dragons
different
or-
stories together as well. You can say like, "Oh, that reminds me of the Cinderella story," and you can relate the kind of.
I don't, I think this is a part of Montessori philosophy. I'm not sure, but I came across it in a Montessori forum. Okay, and I must admit that I don't fully agree with that. Okay, it may be true with very young children, but I think that, gosh, from the age of before 3, you can start working on the kids' imagination with things that they are not familiar with, so that they can imagine it. So that, because if you only talk about things that they're familiar with, then they know what it is and what it looks like. But if you talk to them about things that they don't know anything about and introduce it to them, like dragons and castles and fairies and leprechauns or whatever, then the imagination starts going, and then they start to imagine things that are beyond what they already know. So I
like
think
those stories about dragons and
me too.
castles.
I don't think it's completely useless. I think it challenges the imagination more than a story about Johnny who went shopping and bought a loaf of bread.
Why did he buy bread?
Oh, because he was probably addicted to carbohydrates.
Naughty
And then
Johnny.
he needed to buy something cheap that will satiate his hunger.
Satiate, I think.
Satiate.
Is the pronunciation. Anyway.
Sachet
Yes,
E8.
yes. Well, final warning, because you're jumping up and down behind the camera here and really getting on my nerves. So you know the rule. When we're recording, you give us a little bit of space, okay? Thank you very much.
So next.
Yes, be positive. Next is be positive.
I'm
Talking
positive.
and speaking is not just about giving orders or telling people off. Make speaking fun by picking out positive elements of what is happening. And so We already talked about that a little bit today. You brought up the fact that I was being negative, and you suggested that I should be more positive in the language that I use. I think it's definitely true that the positive perspective leads to more positive things happening.
Yes.
It's just that having that kind of optimistic outlook can be very, very helpful in life. And the other way just kind of leads to depression, basically. So you do need to have a generally positive outlook.
Yeah, I know that you often put into opposition the rationality and optimism. I know that you kind of think that optimism and realism basically are the opposites, right? And I do get it. Is that true? Sorry, maybe I'm misinterpreting your words.
Keep
Is
going.
that okay?
I will. I will listen.
And I think it is very important to have a rational view of reality, right? The way things really are. And I think it is also important to be aware of all the negative results that can occur, right? Because obviously that makes that helps you be prepared for when how do you say it politely? When it hits the fan, right?
The SH.
Yes. But being positive in thinking and in speech, because I think talking is thinking and thinking is talking, right? I think it perpetuates each other. You know what I mean?
I know what you're trying to say.
Okay. Is important for just what you said, for a positive outcome of things. Because if you expect, you're more likely to gravitate towards positive results if that's what you visualize, if that's what you want, right? To focus on the positive, which you basically said before as well. Not sure if you said it today, but I know that to a certain extent you have that view of reality as well.
Okay, well, final warning.
So
there we go.
yeah, it's like with the smiling, right? It's like you smile because you're happy, but I have read somewhere that when you smile, even when you're not happy, that you can fool your hormones, and the more you smile, the happier you become. I don't know if that works. Obviously, it doesn't work for clinical
By
depression,
smiling,
but
you can fool your hormones.
yeah, that when you smile, just when you engage the muscles of your face in that way, you can actually make yourself feel better and happier because those muscles are connected to the feeling of happiness, so you can recreate it by engaging the muscles to a certain extent. Obviously not if you're depressed and grieving and whatever, but to a certain extent.
Don't worry, just smile. Might never happen.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not sure honestly not sure whether that works, but it would make sense,
well,
right?
I
makes
can relate
sense because the connection is there in the brain.
Well, my old singing teacher told me that you sing better when you smile.
Okay.
Because it's you get that the emotion comes out, the feeling comes out. There's a sense to things, and you if you look at opera singers, they very much look like they're smiling a lot of the time because
with their mouth wide open. Which is a bit freaky.
You know what I'm trying to say.
Yes,
right?
I know.
Okay, I was just going to skip on. I'm not going to get out of that one. Right. Okay. Now I've heard other people. The next one is avoid baby talk. I've heard other people talk about this as well, saying that the gaga goo goo na na la 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 stuff that is all not really positive for kids. Now, I think a little bit of anything is okay, right?
Yeah.
But if people overdo it,
I couldn't avoid it. I honestly tried. And I couldn't avoid it very much because sometimes when the kid talks to you back in their cute, funny little fashion and made up words that don't normally exist, you just can't help it and repeat it back sometimes, right? Like when Will used to say pint instead of spoon, right? When he was about 2.5.
I like that word.
And he used to say pint. And I would just say, okay, here's your pint, and I would call it that. And
I like that word. We should change the word spoon to pint. It's a much
reminded me
nicer
of
word.
pint. You probably spell it the same way. It's pint, right?
Yeah, that's irrelevant though. It's just a nice word.
Anyway, yeah. So sometimes you just can't help it, and you just have to talk back to them.
Yeah, and
the
also
same
we
way
have
like
to
they
remember
talk to
that
you.
children understand a lot more than we think they understand
Yes.
from a very early age. So there's not much point in dumbing down.
I mean, look at the
conversation.
look at the diminutives in Slovak language. Okay, in English it's pretty boring because you have a spoon and you have a little spoon, right? I mean, you have a duck and you have a little duck. But in Slovak,
I don't have any ducks.
and do you have in Slovak, you kind of make the word much more difficult when you make a diminutive because you can either have lyžica or lyžička, right? You can have dievča or dievčatko. You can have I know.
No.
You can have nožík and nožíček. You can have ponožka and ponoštička. So it's when you've got a ponoštička is obviously but quite difficult to pronounce for a 2-year-old, right? And yet people use diminutives with toddlers because they're so cute that you can't help it. Okay.
Well, I can think
And,
female thing.
and they still
guys
yeah, I know.
might
And
or might not
and
tend towards that.
because our kids are bilingual, I always made a point of not using the diminutives because I didn't want to give them even more to have to process than they already have to process. But it doesn't really matter because all the kids, like lots of the kids, use diminutives before they learn to use the basic word. A lot of them don't even know the basic word; they only know the diminutive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like. Will still doesn't know that dievčatko is the same thing as dievča, right?
Okay.
So
A lot of people don't. Right, we're gonna. I think the kids are gonna need us in a little bit. So
Yeah.
we're gonna have. A
so
2-minute
yeah,
countdown.
yeah.
We're gonna slide through the last couple very quickly.
Do you think people can hear the Beethoven?
I don't know if people can hear you can check it on the rebroadcast if
Okay.
Beethoven is audible in the
If
background.
we can hear the Beethoven, it's Jasmine.
It's signs of success. Okay.
Jasmine learned how to play Beethoven at the age of 2.5.
Yeah, let's not get into the POTTY stuff.
Okay.
Right. Gesture more. It has been shown that nonverbal communication also matters hugely to children's understanding. Of course, you need to show things with your hands to explain big and small and size and shape and square and circle and yawn.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Is that? Do you
Don't fall asleep.
think that's why I gesture a lot when I get all agitated about saying something?
I have no idea why you gesture a lot. I imagine you get it from your parents. I mean, to be honest. I think that
Maybe because they gestured. See?
yeah, okay, right. Anyway, let's conclude with stop and listen. So, listen to your kids. If you want to have a conversation, if you want them to learn to talk, then you also have to teach them the listening skill as well. All conversations have 2 parts. All communication involves speaking and listening. And remember, you learn more when you listen.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's
Yes.
something to stay focused on, which is a nice point to conclude on. Right, as usual, it's been fun presenting the information to you. Thank you very much for joining us online. You can get in touch with us through www.nsa-slovakia.com, the Academy of Language Therapy and Life Coaching on Facebook and YouTube. There's a Pinterest page as well. You can pick up the Practical Parenting weekly newsletter with lots of tricks and tips and other stuff that's there. I also have 2 other newsletters that go out, the Freemail email for personal coaching and the Daily English Language Masterclass.
And if you guys would like to know, or if you guys need some support, some guidance, or some more information on peaceful parenting, on how to do things with respect when it comes to parenting, when it comes to communication with your children, if you have problems with your kids that you just don't know how to solve in your
Life.
in your relationship with the kids, you can go to 21centurymum, spelled mum.com, and register for our free webinar, Amazing Parenting, that
Are we doing a free webinar?
We are doing it, and we're doing it completely for free,
Are
and
we doing a
we're
free webinar?
working our asses on it, so we would like you
Working
guys
our
there.
asses off on it, not
Yeah.
working our asses on it. That's something different, darling.
Yes. So yes, we're doing both of those, I think. So even if you don't have any problems
Scary
and you
Mary.
just want more information, or just more of us, or more of my weird English, which can be
All over the place, unusually. It
all
is.
over the
Right.
place,
There we go.
accidentally amusing, then just go to the page.
Wasn't meant to be funny.
Go to the 21centurymum, spelled mum.com.
Okay, yeah, and
register.
please like, subscribe, share, do all that stuff. If you share the stuff on the internet, it's really cool. We really appreciate that. Remember, you can leave questions for us in the comments on Facebook or YouTube, or wherever you find the podcast. So, thanks very much for tuning in, and we'll
See
be
you
back
later.
again soon. We're going to say bye to people on Facebook and
Thank you for
people
listening.
on the podcast. Thank you very much, guys. I can't find the arrow as usual. Click on finish. There we go. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There we go. That's that done.